Welcome back to another great game of CDH. I know, it's been a while, but your boy got married. It still feels a bit of a fever dream, but it was a great night, and thanks to all my friends and family that were able to attend. Also, to help with wedding costs, I will be extending the sale of all hoodies and crew decks on my site. So be sure to check them out, as this will probably be the final stock for at least a few of the items, while I prepare some new designs for the future. But starting us off today is Hidden on Rog Thras. Guy's Cradle is a pretty nifty card, and with the printing of Valley Flood Caller, Displacer Kitten, and the newly unearthed Oboro Breeze Caller lines, this is a super sweet deck to pilot. Next up is Cooper on Animar. This is an old school creature combo list, aiming to use Animar's cost reducing ability to essentially free cast your deck and win with either an infinitely large Animar, Walking Ballista, or whatever combo you really want. In the third spot, we have Carlos on Obnix. The King of Ping is back. Fetch lands, mana vaults, bowmasters, there's a lot of ping running around. And this man is set to capitalize with both card advantage and a massive body that can just take your opponents out. And bringing up the rear is Ruben from Tapped and Trigger on Lumra. This is Cocaine Bear. It's a mono green turbo list aiming to use a bunch of landed tappers and sack outlets to loop your commander in some pretty unique ways of comboing.
Alright, block there, kill that. Oh, that is trample. Guess I'm just dead on board.
Hidden starts off with the Misty Rainforest into his Commander Rog, passing after that. Cooper plays and cracks a Scalding Tarn for Taiga. He then casts a Mox Diamond and discards a Hinterland Harbor, tapping out for Sylvan Library. Carlos has a much shorter turn, as he plays out a tap Dragon Skull Summit and passes. Ruben plays out a Yavimaya into a Sylvan Safekeeper, with Hidden at end step cracking his fetch for a tapped Hedge Maze, surveilling away a Song of Creation. Hidden then untaps and plays out a Prismatic Vista, cracking the fetch for a snow-covered island, and then casting his other commander Thrasios. Cooper untaps and activates his library. He takes 8 to keep the 2 extra cards, with a Tinderwall then coming out. And Cooper then ends his turn with an Elvish Mystic. Carlos has an untapped Luxury Suites, and then goes searching for a Demonic Tutor, finding his card and then handing the turn over after that. A Verdant comes out from Ruben, as he then cracks it for a Forest, and for 2 casts a Tiller Engine. Hidden plays out an untapped Mistrise Village, tapping 2 for Cryptolith Rites. Cooper this time only takes 4 off his library, as he plays out a Misty Rainforest, cracking the land for a Tropical Island. He then cracks his Tinderwall for 2 red to help cast his commander Animar, who resolves as Cooper then casts an Elvish Visionary. This will add a counter to Animar, and on ETB draw him a card, ending his turn with the Priest of Titania. Carlos casts a Dark Ritual, which powers out his commander, but ends his turn there. Ruben has a tap Crumbling Vestiges land for turn, with him making a mana off the ETB and triggering his Tiller Engine to untap the land as well. This lets him for 4 cast a Blossoming Tortoise, milling a Fabled Passage and an Ancient Tomb off the ETB, with Ruben choosing to bring his Ancient Tomb back and untap it with the engine. Hidden has a right-on-time Gemstone Caverns into a Giraffe the Flashlight, and with the help of his Cryptolith Rite, Hidden then follows that up with a Relic of Legends, triggering Gerald for a 2/2 zombie as well. Cooper once again takes 4 of his library. He'll then play and crack a Bloodstained Mire, triggering Ob to exile a Rite of Flame, and he then finds a Volcanic Island off the search. With the help then of his Priest, he can then cast the Vizar of the Menagerie. The creature resolves, as Cooper then can free morph a creature off the top. Next up is a Somberwalled Sage into the unmorphed Rattleclaw Mystic, who will make a Teamer mana when it's unmorphed, which then helps cast a Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. This draws Cooper 4 more cards, to which he'll then pay 2 life on a Phyrexian Metamorph to enter as a copy of the Relic of Legends, which lets him then end his turn with Heuristic Study. Carlos starts off his turn with his exiled Rite of Flame. Cooper will draw 1, as Carlos realizes he should have cast the Edhrec Parasite instead. Cooper will then draw off that, as Carlos then follows it up with a Coruscation Mage. Cooper draws, and this time takes 1 off the Parasite, triggering Ob to exile a Bloodstained Mire, which he'll then play and crack for a Badlands. Next up is a Mox Amber, and while there is a Rhystic, Cooper is getting concerned about his dwindling life total, as he declines the draw, but does get pinged off the Mage to trigger Ob once again. A Lion's Eye Diamond then comes out, Rhystic is declined, and the table is pinged once again. This time, Hob exiles another land off the top. Carlos then heads to combat and sends an 8-power Ob at Cooper, ending his turn there. Ruben will draw for his turn, triggering the Parasite to trigger Hob, as the City of Traders then comes out as land for turn. Ruben will then take 2 to cast his Commander, and won't pay for the Rhystic. Cooper will draw, take 1, and trigger Ob, but the bear resolves. However, responding to the ETB, Ruben will then start sacrificing his lands to his Safekeeper to give his creatures Shroud, with him having to sacrifice his own bear as well, as he sacrifices his last land. Ruben will then mill 4 off the ETB, and now returns all of his lands from his graveyard, which will enter untapped due to the Tiller engine. He can then cast a Springheart Nantucket into an LED. He can pay for Rhystic, as he then casts a Finale of Devastation where X equals 1. Hidden will respawn by casting a Veil of Summer to try and stop this, as Cooper draws, takes 1, and triggers Ob. There aren't any other responses, as Ruben finds an Allosaurus Shepherd, and then casts his Commander. He'll continue to pay for Rhystic, and once again the bear enters. He'll sacrifice his lands, and then starts to loop his Commander. And I'm going to speed things up there, as there's quite a few loops for this, as unfortunately, with the Safekeeper, any removal we had becomes mute, until he finds an Urza's Cave, which then finds him a Mirror Pool, letting him make copies of Lumra to make infinite mana and mill his library, ultimately finding a Sun-Scorched Desert to put into the loop and ping the table out, winning him the game.
Game review. Man, I did not see that coming. And maybe had I played against Cocaine Bear a little bit more, I would have known how much danger we were in. But I guess the ability to just go out of nowhere is one of the defining strengths of the deck. But it was great to be back, and I have a bunch more games to show off from Atlanta. Also remember, now is your best time to get some sweet sweatshirts, as the sale is for a limited time only. Thanks to everyone that joined for the game, and before everyone leaves, I want to thank our special Patreon members, Slyfox and Holy Septic, for the support of the channel, along with all of our other Patreon supporters as well. And remember, never give up, even if you're dead on board. I'll see you guys later.